Operation Unified Protector. In early 2011, as the winds of the Arab Spring swept across North Africa, Libya found itself at the center of a violent uprising. Muammar Gaddafi, who had ruled the country for over 4 decades with an iron grip, responded to peaceful protests with brutal force. Civilians were bombarded, cities were besieged, and the world watched in horror as the regime threatened to unleash a massacre in Benghazi. The international community, alarmed by the scale of violence, demanded action. The United Nations passed Resolution 1973, authorizing all necessary measures to protect civilians. NATO answered the call, launching Operation Unified Protector in March 2011. The operation had a triple mandate: enforce a no-fly zone, implement an arms embargo, and protect civilians by any means necessary. NATO mobilized an international coalition that combined air, naval, and intelligence assets into a coordinated force designed to prevent Gaddafi from crushing the rebellion. What followed was one of the most complex and rapid multinational military operations in NATO history. From the skies, NATO warplanes flew thousands of sorties, targeting Libyan air defense systems, command centers, and military convoys heading toward rebel-held areas. The goal was not to wage war against the Libyan state, but to neutralize its ability to kill civilians. The precision of these strikes was crucial. With the eyes of the world watching, NATO had to operate under intense scrutiny, balancing military objectives with the moral imperative of avoiding collateral damage. At sea, NATO vessels patrolled the Mediterranean, intercepting and inspecting ships suspected of carrying weapons to Gaddafi's forces. The arms embargo was enforced with rigorous efficiency, preventing the regime from resupplying and tightening the noose on its military capabilities. Meanwhile, NATO's intelligence sharing network allowed real-time surveillance of ground movements, helping rebel forces on the ground navigate the chaos of a fluid and dangerous battlefield. Yet the operation was not without its controversies. Critics accused NATO of overstepping its UN mandate, arguing that its actions helped tip the balance in favor of the rebels, effectively becoming a force for regime change. Gaddafi's fall in October 2011, marked by his death at the hands of rebel fighters, sparked both celebration and concern. While the immediate threat to civilians had been neutralized, Libya was plunged into a new era of instability, with rival militias and political factions vying for control in the absence of a unifying force. Supporters of the mission argued that NATO had fulfilled its mandate. Thousands of lives were saved, the airstrikes were targeted and restrained, and the operation was conducted without deploying ground troops. It showcased NATO's ability to project power quickly and effectively, demonstrating that it could act decisively in defense of human rights and international law. Operation Unified Protector officially ended in October 2011, just 7 months after it began. But its legacy continues to shape debates about military intervention, the limits of international mandates, and the consequences of war without post-conflict planning. It remains a defining moment in NATO's history, an operation that combined air power, diplomacy, and humanitarian urgency in a way the alliance had rarely attempted before. It was not just a mission to protect Libya, it was a test of NATO's moral compass in the face of atrocity. And while the aftermath of the conflict left many questions unanswered, the operation itself proved that NATO could act fast, act together, and act with purpose when the stakes were highest.